So Larry, again, this was the photograph that,
It's the
or the
one that
set of
got you.
photographs that got me hooked. I know nothing about Belize. I will be completely honest. I have a friend who's traveled to Costa Rica 3 times. He loves it there. And I actually have a friend of mine who used to be a business consultant who sold his home here in the Hudson Valley and moved to Panama. And
Wow.
every now and then, I talk to him about what life is like in Panama. He tells me it's not like Belize and Costa Rica. He said it's quite a bit different. But Larry, the thing that first caught my attention, and I think one of the key things that travel advisors need to think about when they go on fam trips with somebody like Denise is composition. And what I loved about these two pictures, because they're fairly distinct. One of them, you've got tremendous contrast. So the depth of perception from where we're viewing out into the sea is really, it's composed so beautifully. On the bottom picture, I'm feeling like I'm sitting at the table. The way the picture was taken at the right angle, we've got, is that a sunrise or a sunset?
That would be a sunset.
That'd be a sunset. We've got the sun setting, and the immediate feeling that I had is, oh my goodness, I'm not dating anybody right now, but if I was to go away with a female partner, this is where I want to go. I want to be
This is
sitting
where you
here
want
with her, watching the sunset, and I can almost feel the breeze blowing in off the sea. And I'm guessing, I don't know what the humidity is like, but this doesn't feel humid to me. It doesn't feel jungle-like. It feels kind of like the trade winds are blowing through. Do you guys just have a knack for this, Larry? Where does this come from? Placing people in these scenes.
These two photos are not mine.
Okay.
I know specifically who the photographers are. Two totally different photographers.
That's awesome.
And in the interesting thing about the photographs that I choose to publish are that I don't only get them from professional photographers, although the one at the bottom is a professional photographer,
Okay.
the one on the top is not. That came from a guest. And so I resource mostly from my own work, but also from guests. When I see them post something like on TripAdvisor, for instance, and they, in addition to the review, they might post some very interesting photos, I will contact them and say, would you be interested in sharing some of your photography with me? That's where that top one came from.
Wow.
And I love the story that it told as well when I first saw it. The one on the bottom is a professional photographer and videographer who we hired to do our promotional video. And in conjunction with that, with hiring him to do the promotional video, he also agreed to send us some still photography, and that's one he took. So, as you mentioned, I always try to connect what the property brand is with the photos that I select. And in this case, we have two different connections to our branding. The top one being that, again, to reinforce the whole gardening and flowers right there at the beach and at the sea, connecting and commingling with each other. And that's what that first picture told me, the top one. And then the bottom one is our roaming butler service, which is something that is unique that we do. We serve any of our meals to all of our guests anywhere on the property. And so this one happens to be on a villa veranda.
So explain to me, Larry, does the property have a formal restaurant with 20 tables?
I like that word formal restaurant because I would answer that question directly as no, we don't have a formal restaurant. Our restaurant is the entire property. And people say, well, what do you mean? And I say, well, we will serve you anywhere on the property you want. In the bottom corner of that, the top photo shows a picture of our pier out over the sea. Right. So we serve breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Primarily dinners is what people select to use the pier for. And all the way into the property, around the pools, up on the villa verandas, at the bar, anywhere people choose to eat, drink, we bring it to them, even sitting in the sand on the beach.
It's such a cool concept. It's one of the only hotels I've ever heard of that has that option. And I think it throws people at first, but once all of my agents that came with me and experienced this property a few weeks ago, that was probably their favorite part. The fact that we could order breakfast and have it brought up to our veranda. If you wanted to do lunch out by the pier, there's also a bit of a decking here to the left in the top picture where you do have tables and chairs set up. And I mean, look at that setting. Can you imagine getting married there? Or a family reunion? I mean, anything. It's such a fun spot. It's a great location. And Placencia is just so calm. And all of the Yucatan right now, including Ambergris Key, is being hit so bad with the sargassum. You don't see it at all in Placencia, which is a huge win.
So I hope anybody who's watching picks up on what Larry just said. This particular property has taken its physical plant and chosen to, set up the experience for the traveler based around the physical plant. And that then appeals to a certain type of consumer. Now, I am not necessarily the type of person who likes a formal restaurant, the place that you go to and you get welcomed at that little lectern and then you get escorted to your table and there's, 10 other tables. That's, I kind of like it sometimes, but most of the times I'm a lot more informal. And so the photographs reflect that. And that is what branding is all about. Even if you weren't to say to somebody, to describe it as a travel advisor, this resort doesn't have a physical restaurant, you eat everywhere. You can kind of pick up on that from the pictures because you never see pictures of a restaurant. So you start to realize over time that what Larry and his team are doing is they're penetrating into your brain. If you're following us and you haven't booked with us yet, this is an informal place. It gives you the freedom to eat where you want to eat. If you're starting to see certain times of day where the sun sets and you want to enjoy your meal as the sun sets, you go find that place and tell the butler to come and serve you. That's branding. That, and what are we all doing as travelers? We're not necessarily looking for, I want this, 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 and this. We're saying, this is the experience I want to have. And for some people, going to a big resort in like the Cancun zone or something, and having 5 restaurants to choose from, some of us, that's not what we're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
So think about your client. And if your client wants a lot more freedom and flexibility, that's why Larry's portraying this property this way.
A little comment for you, Richard.
Yes.
In what you were just saying, if what you want is 5 restaurants on the property and those kind of things, Chabil might not be what you're looking for. And we're very keen on making sure, or preferring, I should say, that the client who comes to us, like people like Denise send to us, know exactly what they're going to experience. And they are so happy when they get there because typically they do what I did when I first arrived and their jaw drops. They go, oh my God, this is even better than I thought it was going to be. But the other thing is that because we're so close to the village that you can kayak to have lunch, as I explained, they have options there too. Right. So, they can enjoy both environments. And so I thought of that immediately when you were talking about not having 5 restaurants. They have access to all the village restaurants too when they choose to select that option.
If you noticed, that previous post had 117 people liked that post. I must have missed this one because I didn't hit love on this one. But again, here comes the branding. Look at how we're in different places in each one of these photographs. And the person is enjoying a meal or beverages in some form, and it's conveying that image of flexibility and eat where you want. And the content in the text part of the post specifically says you're free to dine wherever you want. This is incredible branding through imagery.